Arizona State Sun Devils basketball is 15-3 with its best start since the team came into the Pac-10. How did we get here? Let's talk about it on this edition of the Locked On Sun Devils podcast.
Are Locked On Sun Devils, your daily podcast on the Arizona State Sun Devils, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the qualified candidates you want to talk to faster. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. That's linkedin.com/lockedoncollege to post your job for free. Terms and conditions will apply. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Locked On Sun Devils podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. My name is Richie Bradshaw, and I will be your guide for everything Arizona State Sun Devils. As always, thank you so much for tuning in. Remember, you can get this podcast free and available on all platforms, including YouTube. If you want to check us out in a visual platform, wherever you're getting your podcast, though, hit like and subscribe and turn on those notifications so you get an update whenever we post new content. Stay in touch with that content by following me on Twitter at RichieBrads36 and the podcast at LO_Sun Devils. Let's go ahead and talk some Arizona State Sun Devils hoops. Man, they're 15-3, you guys. This is officially no longer like a fluky team. You don't get to be 15-3 by accident. And there's some quality wins, there's some close games, and there's a lot of opportunity to continue proving themselves as we move forward. 15-3 with wins over VCU, number 20 Michigan, Creighton, and Oregon are the big standouts. Washington as well. Washington is very quietly a solid. No, they're not. They're 11-8. I thought they were. I must have misplaced them for another team. My apologies. Point being, there's some quality wins on this schedule for Arizona State. They also were able to keep it close with U of A, losing 69-60 at home. If you look at this Twitter page that talks about like shot quality, Arizona State should have won that game based off of the quality of their shots, obviously. But, it's still a loss. Nonetheless, 15-3, Arizona State has very quietly just absolutely dominated this year. And they're doing it in all sorts of different ways. And that's what we're going to talk about on this edition of the pod. Let's go ahead and talk about just the overall team's ability to stay gritty in these games. Arizona State isn't blowing teams out for the most part. There's a lot of close games. In their last 4 games, they're on a 4-game winning streak. They beat Wazoo 77-71, 6-point game. They beat Washington 73-65, 8-point game. They beat Oregon State 74-69, 5-point game. These are close games. And typical Arizona State fashion, these are games that at one point in time, we weren't really sure whether or not this was going to be a close game or if it was going to be kind of a losing effort for the team. Looking at the Oregon State game, that was a game that Arizona State trailed at halftime. 42-39, they were giving up a lot of points. Typical ASU fashion. Second half, they shut it down on defense, only gave up 27 points. That's just what we've come to get to know from Arizona State, is it feels like they're definitely a one-half team where they come out and just dominate. You wish they could put together a full 40 minutes, but they're winning games right now. In Washington, they held the team to 26 in the first quarter, gave up 39 in the second quarter. This is just the way that we've come to know Arizona State basketball at this point. Washington State was close on both sides, 36 in the first quarter, 35 in the second quarter. Looking at the Oregon game, that was a good game for Arizona State. They won that game 90-73. It is one of the highest outputs for the team this year, only below the 91 points that they dropped on San Diego. This was a really good output for Arizona State. Again, kind of tale of two halves for the defense, 29 points in the first half, 44 in the second half. If ASU can find a way to put together this complete effort of, what's the word I'm looking for? Like back-to-back, like 29 point, like halves. Goodness gracious, I'm like stumbling on my words. It'd be awesome. You would be very, very close to almost a perfect record. Now, with the 3 losses for Arizona State, they're very frustrating losses. The Texas Southern one stands out. Third game of the year, they lost that game 67-66 in overtime. Their shooting was absolutely terrible in that game. They went on to have a 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 win winning streak before dropping their next 2 to San Francisco and U of A. They're right back on a 4-game winning streak. This team is just gritty. They're ugly games. They're exciting games, but there's times where Arizona State is winning ugly. Like I said, in these last 4 games, 3 of them have been very, very close. And then you had the blowout to Oregon in Eugene, by the way. So it's not always pretty. But Arizona State is finding a way to get it done. They're doing it in a variety of different ways as well. You have to appreciate the way that this team has been able to come out and just find a way to win these games, whether it's close, whether it's maybe not as close, but overall, definitely proud of the way that Arizona State has been able to play these games. Gotta love what we're seeing right now. Hopefully, we can continue to see it moving forward. As a small business owner or a hiring manager, you know that success in 2023 all depends on the team members you surround yourself with. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. With LinkedIn Jobs, you can hire qualified candidates more efficiently by matching open roles with people who have the skills, values, and experience to help achieve your goals. LinkedIn Jobs helps you quickly attract qualified candidates to your open jobs with targeting tools. They go beyond resume data by using insights from your job post, company, and their 875 million member profiles to put your post in front of the most qualified candidates. Identify the most qualified candidates on LinkedIn Jobs and connect with them fast and for free. LinkedIn Jobs makes it easy to screen and rate applicants based on your job qualifications all on one platform. It's why small businesses rank LinkedIn Jobs #1 in delivering quality hires versus leading competitors. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the qualified candidates you want to talk to faster. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. That's linkedin.com/lockedoncollege to post your job for free. Terms and conditions will apply. Make sure, if you guys have not already, to check out Locked On College Basketball as your second listen of the day. Everything you need to know about college basketball in one place. Hear from the big name experts, insiders, coaches, and players. Locked On College Basketball, available on YouTube and wherever you're getting your podcasts. Back into our conversation looking at Arizona State Sun Devils basketball. How else are they winning these games? They're winning gritty. They're also playing great defense. Arizona State has, throughout the year, been one of the best teams on three-point shooting. They don't give up a ton of points. Most of their games, they're allowing between 60 to 70 points. In fact, they have only allowed more than 70 points a whopping 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, 4 times. Final answer. They have given up over 70 points 4 times this year. And in those games, they are 3-1. They allowed their first 70-point game to Creighton, won that game 73-71. They allowed 71 to Washington State, scored 77. They allowed 73 to Oregon, scored 90. And their one loss, they gave up 97 to San Francisco. Outside of that lone game to San Francisco, Arizona State is doing a really good job limiting opponents to low scores. And there have been several really good outputs for the team. Grambling is the one that stands out the most, where they won that game 80-49. They took an elite U of A team, held them to 69 points when Arizona was averaging well over 90 points a game. They were able to limit the impact of some of the big name players on that team. Omar Ballo was one of the guys who had routinely dominated for the Wildcats. Azulis Tubelis was another guy who was dominating. They held those two to 12 points and 21 points respectively. Arizona State has done a very good job taking a team's major output producer and being able to limit them for the most part. Again, with the exception of that San Francisco game where he gave up 97, they're typically allowing between 60 and 70 points per game. This is a team that is just playing very disciplined basketball. They're playing assignment basketball. Everyone knows where they need to be. Everyone is playing tough. They're playing tight. They're forcing turnovers. They're allowing poor quality shots. They're doing everything right. They're doing everything that they need to do. There's a lot of great efforts all the way around, too. Frankie Collins is super sticky when he's covering a dude. He's fast. He's elusive. He can get around, and he screens that are getting set up to try and open up an opportunity for the shooter. He just finds a way to blanket guys. He's not perfect, obviously. None of these guys are, but it's such a breath of fresh air for Arizona State to have a defender like Frankie Collins, who also is a pretty solid contributor offensively, but we'll get into that a little bit later. Warren Washington is the big man. He is the biggest man on the court for Arizona State, who outside of Washington is pretty much running a lot of small ball with their guards. But Warren Washington, as the big man, plays to his size. Dude is 7'2", or just 7 foot. 7'2", I believe, is Enoch Vache. Playing at 7 foot, 225. I mean, he's a big physical defender. He has fouled out in a handful of games, which obviously isn't great. But the fact that this dude is able to post up and play as big and strong as he is great. He also is your leading rebound guy, averaging 7.1 a game. That's another thing that Arizona State's doing pretty well. They're averaging 39 rebounds a game. I'll take that every single day that ends in Y and twice on Sundays. And they're getting contributions from across the board. Warren Washington's averaging 7.1, but you have several guys who are also contributing. Devin Cambridge, of the two brothers, has been exceptional as well, averaging 5.4 rebounds a game. He's finding a way to contribute in more ways than one. Devin Cambridge, also a really good defender for the team. 6'6", 215. He plays like it. I think that's the biggest thing right now for Arizona State is they're just getting contributions all over the place from their different defenders. And it goes deep into the bench as well. Duke Brennan, who I believe is a freshman for the team, has found a way to make an impact as well. As a 6'10", 235-pound big man, he's getting rebounds. He's getting points when he's getting the opportunity. This is a guy who's only averaging 10 minutes a game and is still getting almost 3 rebounds a game. When he's on the court, he's making a difference. He's making an impact. He's being that big man for you. Arizona State is just getting great contributions all over the place defensively from their guys. Like I said, they're giving up low-quality shots to opposing players. They're also finding ways to limit what opponents want to do. There's a lot of really great things that this team has been able to accomplish for the team so far. You love that it's more than one guy. I highlight Frankie Collins. I highlight Devin Cambridge. I highlight Warren Washington. But they're getting it from Desmond Cambridge. They're getting it from DJ Horn. They're getting it off the bench from Duke Brennan. They're getting all sorts of really good defensive play from throughout the roster. And when you have guys that are all contributing as much as they are, you really are in a situation where you're going to control the game. And this is why Arizona State is typically on the winning side with low scores. BetOnline.net is your number one source for sports betting info, stats, news, and analysis. Get the latest odds and trends for every professional and amateur league out there. We've got it from pro football to basketball, both pro and college, and more. Everything on BetOnline.net. If you love sports podcasts, you can find those at BetOnline as well. We're always the fastest and easiest way to get your sports betting information. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends in action at BetOnline, where the game starts. One more time, I want to thank you guys for tuning in to Locked On Sun Devils as your first listen of the day. For your second listen, check out the brand new podcast, Locked On College Basketball. Experts Isaac Shade and Andy Patton bring you everything you need to know on and off the court. Plus, hear from big-name experts, coaches, and players throughout the basketball landscape. It's Locked On College Basketball, available on YouTube and wherever you're getting your podcasts. All right, boys. Let's go, boys and girls, excuse me. Let's go ahead and wrap this bad boy up. The final way that Arizona State has been able to win their games. Not just defensive contribution, but offensive contribution as well. I know that some people will look at Arizona State and kind of be underwhelmed by the fact that there's not a guy who's averaging 20 points a game. Be underwhelmed by the fact that their leading guy who has played all the games is only averaging 12.1 points a game, and that's between two players, Des Cambridge and DJ Horn. I understand that's not sexy. It's not what a lot of guys want to see. They want to see those high output producers, right? But Arizona State is averaging 73.3 points a game. This isn't a high scoring team. They're still able to get the most out of what they have. And the way that they're doing it is throughout the roster. They're getting quality play from their bench. They have so many guys who, first of all, are going to be long-term fixtures for this team, because Warren Washington, Des Cambridge, and Devin Cambridge are all seniors. They're not long for this team. This is a one-year option for them. But there are guys lined up on this bench that are going to be in play for larger roles as long as they stay with the team. I look at guys like Austin Nunez, who's an absolute sniper for the team. Austin Nunez is shooting 43.2% from the field, 33.3% from deep, and he's averaging, 4.8 points a game. Doesn't seem like a lot, but then he has these big splash games where he comes out and he drops 8-10 points. Again, I know that doesn't seem like a lot. In the grand scheme of things, sure, it's not a lot. But again, consider that Arizona State is not a team that's dropping 90 points a game. They're getting quality production from their bench. Alonzo Gaffney, 3.2 points. Luther Muhammad, 4.2 points. Jemiah Neal, who's really come on hot recently, 5.2 points. These are guys that are just adding up on your bench. When you have contributions from your 6, 7, 8 man, you can't ask for much more. From your starters, yeah, I understand that there's not a single guy who is blowing up the box score. But first of all, Des Cambridge has really come on these last two games. He's got back-to-back 21-point outputs. The dude looks like he's getting ready to absolutely hit an absolute burner for the team. I am excited to see if Des Cambridge can keep up what he's doing. 12.1 points a game from him. DJ Horn also averaging 12.1 points per game. He's a very steady producer. He has some really big outputs. He also has some very average outputs. But they're not asking one specific guy to be the shooter for the team. It's spread out. Devin Cambridge, 10.9 points. Frankie Collins, 10.9 points. Warren Washington, as the big man, is still getting 8.2 points a game. It adds up. I know that there are certain people who will clown me in the comments and be like, this guy's a hoot. That's one of my favorite comments. This guy's a hoot. Because I'm so optimistic about this team, in spite of the fact that they're only averaging 73 points a game, in spite of the fact that they're not doing anything outstanding besides the defense. It is what it is, man. They're winning games right now. They're playing quality basketball. So clown me if you want to clown me. We're 15-3. We're second place in the Pac-12. We control our own destiny for the remainder of the season and have an opportunity to be a very special team in terms of Arizona State basketball. You are trending towards the bracket right now, and not like a first four out kind of appearance, like a quality position in the NCAA tournament. This is a team that feels special. This is a team that's giving me optimism for the future. They're fun to watch. Biggest thing right now, guys, is we need continued fan support. Thursday night, go to Desert Financial Arena. We're playing the number 5 UCLA Bruins. We need everybody there. We want to pull off this upset. We want to continue to prove that we are a quality basketball team and that we're capable of generating upsets and that we're capable of being a team that is far better than anyone wants to give us credit for. Be there. Be at this game. Support the basketball team in a way that Arizona State has never supported basketball. Go to more games beyond that. We still have Oregon scheduled to come home. We still have USC. There are still some really big games left for Arizona State. So go out, support these teams. It's fun to watch right now. And I promise you, when Desert Financial is rocking, it is one of the most fun environments that I've ever been in for any sporting event. So go out and support the team, guys. This is a good team. They are not 15-3 by accident. They're riding off of really good success from last season, and they're bringing it into this year. So go out and watch. But that's all I got for you on this edition of the podcast. So as always, thank you guys for tuning in. Remember, wherever you're getting your podcasts, hit like and subscribe and turn on those notifications so you get an update when we post new content, and stay in touch with that content by following me on Twitter. You can find me at Richie Bradshaw 36, and you can find the podcast at LO_Sun Devils. I've got another player interview lined up for this week, so make sure that you stay tuned. Until then, you keep it locked right here on Locked On Sun Devils.